Welcome everyone to this, our virtual presentation about biocatalysts and what we can do to help improve your food ingredients. At our heart, we are a specialty enzyme supplier. I'll talk a little about how that works and what we do in a couple of slides, but here's some brief background information first. We've been supplying enzymes to food ingredient manufacturers for over 35 years. We've got 60 plus employees. In the UK, that covers technical, regulatory, food scientists, manufacturing, etc. And here in the US, that covers market presence and logistics and distribution too. We supply to multiple sectors and verticals, that is not just food enzymes, and that includes life science sectors such as nutraceuticals, pharmaceuticals, as well as more industrial sectors like fine chemical, for example. As such, we have a very broad product catalogue, which should be available for download from our virtual booth. Our customers are located all over the world, so we have global logistics in place, and owing to our size, we're able to scale up enzyme supply extremely quickly, and we pride ourselves on making sure that we are not the bottleneck in your commercialization plans. Biocatalysts as an organization sits within a larger group of companies, the Brain Group. As you can see over on the right of this slide, we form the nutrition and health arm of the wider group's portfolio. That said, the Brain Group represents technologies, capabilities, and market presence that lend themselves well to the supply of specialty enzymes, so there is indeed some overlap. As you can see here, Brain's technology is used to identify technical market needs, as well as to identify enzymes as solutions to those needs, while Biocatalysts and our sister enzyme supplier Vice Biotech test those solutions and take them to market. Within the food space, the verticals we primarily operate in are listed here. I'll go into some detail about some of the applications within these sectors over the next couple of slides. Also, as discussed earlier, we are active in a number of adjacent sectors, for example, which include enzymes we provide for diagnostics applications, for example, presence and absence tests, molecular biology tools, etc. Dietetics applications, so for example, enzymes used as nutritional supplements, and pharmaceutical applications, for example, enzymes used to make drug molecules. If there are any questions about these or any of the applications, feel free to reach out to us from our virtual booth. Okay, so now a little detail about the applications within the sectors I mentioned earlier, starting with dairy, which represents the largest portion of our portfolio. Broadly, we're talking about enzymes which can improve either the functionality or the flavors of dairy ingredients. So, for example, there are enzymes used to improve the heat stability of dairy ingredients, new lipases that would improve EMC, so enzyme modified cheeses and other EMDIs, for example, allowing you to access new flavors or more flavor per unit of your product, and enzymes that can improve the quality and flavor of whey protein hydrolysates, for example, by making them more soluble or less bitter. We also work with a number of clients who need non-animal versions of enzymes that typically come from animal sources. So, for example, pregastric esterases used in the production of some cheese and cheese flavors. Within the wider protein space, there are a number of applications our enzymes are used in. And obviously, this is a very active space with multiple new protein sources on the horizon, so it's a big focus area for us. For example, there are proteases that can be used on animal proteins themselves to improve flavor, solubility, nutritional availability. But there are also enzymes used to turn animal processing side streams into value-add ingredients and supplements. As in the dairy space, we're also supplying enzymes here to replace animal-sourced enzymes like pancreatin or trypsin, for example. One area of particular focus at the moment is, of course, plant proteins and their hydrolysates. In this slide, you'll see an overview of the various plant protein sources we've looked at, as well as some specific data around what our enzymes can do to improve pea protein hydrolysates. Specifically, we leveraged the protein portfolio that we have to look at their effects on various features of pea protein hydrolysates. For example, the degree of hydrolysis, the sensory profile of the hydrolysate, solubility, amino acid profile. And then we use that data to make recommendations for which proteases to use for these different pea protein applications. So, for example, which proteases are best if you're looking to add a pea protein ingredient to an acid beverage versus an infant formula versus a sports nutrition, etc. And now would be a good point to remind everyone that samples of these proteases and everything else in our portfolio are available on request. So please feel free to reach out to us at our virtual booth if you'd like to test these products, or if you just want some guidance on how to get the best results. We also have a number of products used in the egg processing industry. For example, lipases and proteases to improve the stability of egg yolk mayonnaise and egg white foams. And this includes non-GMO microbial replacements for animal-sourced enzymes like PLA2. What we term our fruit and vegetable sector primarily covers enzymes that digest plant tissue. There are many activities represented in this portfolio, for example, cellulases, hemicellulases, ferulic acid esterases, isonases, etc. And they're typically used to improve the extraction of valuable botanicals from plant tissue, e.g. flavor and color compounds. Or they're used to improve juice yields and to improve fruit firmness in formulated products. Okay, so the previous slides have covered what's available from our portfolio, but we also have a whole other side of our business that's built around the discovery and commercialization of entirely new enzymes that aren't commercially available anywhere else. This model is typically used by clients who desire novelty and exclusivity. As you can see from the slide, we've built a number of technologies into this business model. So for example, a metagenomics platform to quickly and intelligently find enzyme candidates from proprietary genetic databases. We have multiple manufacturing strains, so we can pick the right host for this new enzyme, and technologies that are used to develop fermentation protocols for those strains. There's also small sample provision technology that allows you to get a hold of new enzymes extremely cost effectively, and lab-to-plant scale-up facilities to ensure commercial success. We also complement these technologies with analytical labs and multiple processing options to make sure we can formulate the right product for your application. As I mentioned earlier, this is a fully fledged business model rather than just contract R&D. And so we've built a lot of structure into the process to ensure the highest chance of success, the lowest amount of investment before proof of concept, and the right amount of communication along the way. In short, these three phases are: 1, a discovery phase that culminates in you getting enzymes to test. 2, a commercial development phase where we take those enzymes and the manufacturing process from the lab to the plant. And 3, a scale-up manufacturing phase where we cross the T's, dot the I's in terms of QC, QA, regulatory, supply agreements, etc., as we would for any other commercially available enzyme product. I'll talk a little about how this all works in the coming slides. So the first stage is finding the right enzyme. One way we do this is by leveraging metagenomics. To add some info and speak to the power of the metagenomics database I alluded to earlier, this enzyme library contains hundreds of millions of enzyme sequences taken from a variety of environments and existing metagenomic data. As such, 98% of it is completely novel and not available anywhere else. So coupled with our cost-effective sample generation technology, it's an incredibly powerful tool our customers use to access brand new enzymes, new chemistries, across the whole range of food ingredient applications. Now, once you've found an enzyme that does the job, we need to take that manufacturing system from the lab into the plant. To do this, we have our own scale-up facilities adjacent to our labs in the UK. This allows us to scale up very quickly and with minimum risk. Here are some of the scales of fermenter we use to achieve this. So these are the technologies that produce small gram quantities for lab testing, all the way up to the processes to deliver kilograms and tons of enzyme for the plant. The benefit of having access to all of these scales is seamless scale-up, very fast scale-up, and of course, low-risk scale-up. And this facility isn't just used for the scale-up of enzymes we discover. It's also a fermentation suite available for the contract manufacturing of enzymes that you bring to us. The process we go through is very similar to the discovery and scale-up model, whereby we're flexible in terms of the scales and processing options available. That is lab proof of concept all the way through to fully QC'd product. And the whole thing is underpinned by full project management and product support, such as assay development and generation of regulatory data, for example. So, to summarize, we are a specialty enzyme partner with both enzyme discovery and enzyme supply businesses. We've got a footprint in Europe and North America with a global customer base spanning the world's largest food, flavor, and FMCG companies. And we come with all of the regulatory status you'd expect from a food industry supplier. If there are any questions at all, reach out to us at the Biocatalysts virtual booth. And otherwise, please enjoy the rest of the show.